Hey, everybody, welcome once again to another episode of the Table Podcast. Hey, before we get going, would you do me a favor and continue to tell your friends about this podcast? And if you wouldn't mind, also rate and review. If you rate the podcast, it really helps us kind of bump up in the rankings, which is really good because we want to just keep climbing the mountain. Started from the bottom, now we're here. You know what I mean? Started from the bottom, but now we're here. So even if before you listen to this, you wouldn't mind just clicking out real quick and rating, reviewing, telling your friends. You can at me. You can say don't at me, but also go ahead and at me at Nick Hand, and love to continue to just spread the word about the podcast. I hope that everybody had a great Mother's Day. I'm joined by my brother and Miguel as always, and I know they had a good Mother's Day and with their mommies, and we hope that you did too. And today on the podcast, it's going to be so lots of fun. It's going to be so lots of fun. Young Jizzo, I called him Young Jizzo again. Why do I call him Young Jizzo? You know, so here's the thing about Young Jizzo is he used to be Young Jizzo, but now he goes by Jizzo because he's no longer as young as he once was. Now he's just Jizzo. Mm-hmm. He's an internationally known. His broadcasts are broadcast internationally, and he is a radio DJ amongst other things. On-air personality. He's a whole lot of fun. I actually went to high school with him, so we have some history. He knew me before I was me. You know what I mean? And not too many people could say that.
He knew you before you knew you.
He knew me before I knew me.
Yeah.
Before I was coming into my own. We used to pass each other in the halls, and Anyway, it's a good thing if you didn't know me back then. But yeah, he's a lot of fun. It's a great podcast. I know that everybody's going to enjoy it because we talk about a lot of things that are good and they're entertaining.
Yeah.
Just like life is. Life is entertaining. Kind of like guys at the gym that take progress pics in the gym mirrors, and they shouldn't be. That's entertaining. You know, it's also entertaining people who use gym equipment in a way that's not supposed to be used. That is also entertaining.
Those are good.
Use it what it's for, dude. You ever see somebody doing like a movement? It's like that movement looks inappropriate, and whatever muscle you're trying to work, you could work in another way. Like those are the kinds of people that you see them at the gym. It's like, pick another exercise, bro.
Yeah.
Like, why are we working so hard? They have machines for that. But no joke, honestly, the guys that take progress pics when there hasn't been much progress, and the reason I can say that because I've been there, dude. I know what it's like. My weight fluctuates like the waves of the ocean. It comes up and down, in and out. That's just how it goes. I'm working on it. I'm on my way to six-pack abs by summer. We'll see. We'll post it on the podcast. Maybe we'll. Maybe I'll sit here with my shirt off and do a whole intro, just nothing but just rocks.
Yep.
Just belly rocks, dude.
I'm for it.
Just belly stones, just right here, just six smooth belly stones, just staring right at you. That's what we're gonna do. We're all gonna do it. So you better get yours ready too.
Do it
okay.
Right now.
And we'll do that. But seriously though. The thing that cracks me up about people at the gym is because we've all seen them. And I think that I can say it because I've been there. When you work out for like a week and then you start wearing form-fitting athletic gear, and it's like not time yet.
Yeah.
Like you should not be doing that. And they're always. I don't understand people that are taking Snapchat pics at the gym. Like it just seems odd to me. You guys don't think that that's odd?
No.
I think, and maybe it's just weird to me because I think that it's weird that you're around other people, dude, and you're like, you can always tell because there's like a certain face. It's almost like, you know how some people have a face when they look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Like you don't look like when you look in the mirror, you don't look at the mirror like you're looking at me. No. Everybody, you do something with your face that's different. Uh-huh. Like you like engage your eyebrows different, or like you wrinkle your nose. Like that's what everybody does. Yeah. People do the same thing when they're taking a selfie on the Snapchat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people
call it the Snapchat?
On the Snapchat. And when they do it at the gym, it's 10 times worse. You know, it's just, I don't know. Do your sets and get out of my way. That's what I'm thinking. Do your sets, get out of my way.
You're about your business.
I'm about my business. I'm there to get rocks, dude. If I'm there to get rocks, I'm there to get rocks.
Are we getting belly rocks?
Are we getting belly rocks? Guys, are we getting belly rocks or are we not? What are we doing?
I'm
and
for
these, you know, I don't know. And then you go at 3 p.m. and it's like all the high schoolers just got out and their little twig arms and they're doing their triceps.
Wow, I feel attacked, first of all.
Yeah, you got those too. You still got your boy body. You know, and it's what you do. And it's true. And one day I hope it catches up with you. And will I be sorry for you? No, I won't be. I won't feel sorry for you one bit. Will I laugh at you? I'll laugh at you all day long.
My metabolism will never slow down.
Have you seen his dad though?
No. Yeah, I have seen his dad.
No, we got.
But you're gonna
implants.
No,
they got six implants.
Bro, you're gonna be skinny fat, bro. You know what I'm talking about? Like skinny fat. Like you ever see a guy and it's like, how come you're skinny but you're also fat? Like that's the thing. You know what I mean?
Never.
Like you ever see somebody? They look like a kangaroo, dude.
No,
that's
it's
what
just like
no. Think about this. It looks like a kangaroo. Like you ever seen a skinny guy take off his shirt who's not fit? He has a pouch.
It's like
he always has the lower belly pouch. Wow. A kangaroo. You got a kangaroo in that pouch, dude? You got do you have I'm sorry, are you from Australia? Do you have a kangaroo in your pouch? Because I'm pretty sure that you're a kangaroo. I'm pretty sure we're in the outback. Do you know
that
Steve Irwin?
Never happened to me.
Yes, it would. Bro.
Words.
I bet your dad has a pouch.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You'll see. See what happens during summer.
Well,
hey, Dad.
Let me see your belly.
Mr. Kangaroo, what were you going to say?
No,
sorry, I bulldozed there. I kept going
real fast.
I got a little passionate about that kangaroo. Forgive me.
That was good.
But honestly, I mean, there's Matt. Matt is over here. Let me get Matt in case you can't see. Matt looks like this is the kind of guy, dude. This is exactly Matt. You are exactly the kind of guy. Hang on. This is the kind of guy. This is the kind of guy, dude. And he's like me, but he's not like me. So he carries around a gym bag like me, dude, and like a Bang energy drink.
And his big old water
flask.
Yeah,
and a water flask.
And his nose ring.
And then he does triceps, and then he looks at his triceps in the mirror right after he does triceps because he thinks that they just grew as soon as he did triceps.
And then Snapchats him.
And then he Snapchats.
Yeah.
Do you know what else is ridiculous about Snapchat is streaks? You know what? And if you don't know what, I'm not talking about like a naked person running across the field. I'm not talking about like the stripes in Kelly Clarkson hair in 2004. I'm talking about streaks. Streaks are when you send a daily snap to someone
back and forth.
Back and forth. Yeah. That's what it is. You do streaks too, don't you? You to who?
All the Starbucks mommies.
You are disgusting, dude. Wow. You are so disgusting. Here, you hold this in video, Matt, because I think I'm going to talk to you. He said he sends Snapchats to all the Starbucks mommies because Matt works at Starbucks. He's a barista. But dude, you're that guy, dude. You're the guy who you have athletic gear and you look at your triceps in the mirror. You know what I mean? You grunt when you lift, and you're not even lifting that much weight. You're only curling 25s.
Oh, he's not.
Oh, gosh. Yes, you do. You get your... You also get your hair cut every 2 weeks, right? Like calendar, don't you? And you have a nose ring. That's how I know your type, dude. Clientele. Where are they? Bro. Oh gosh, these guys.
It's a dry
Starbucks
season
clientele. It's a dry season. Man, guys like that. But you know what? If you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah.
But I'm not taking progress pics at the gym ever. Mark my words. I will never. Well, okay, maybe once I get the rocks, then I will. But my thing is like when you're out of the shape, and you're taking pics in the mirror
on the Snapchat.
Don't do it, dude. Just don't. You're embarrassing yourself and me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I have to see that and I have to look away. And when I have to look away, it makes me feel sorry for you.
Dude, I could tell you're passionate
about it.
Dude, I'm so passionate about it.
You let them live their truth, okay? If they want to take pictures, you take pictures.
I see nothing but lies. It bothers me. Because it's just like you ever see somebody who's a douchebag but they don't know they're a douchebag, and somebody could, if I could just tell them that you're a douchebag, bro, then maybe they could turn over a new leaf.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't have the courage, and yet they keep doing these things. Mm-hmm. Matt, you're a douchebag. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I love you, Matt. I love you. So if you're any one of those guys, you're the same guy. It's the same guy that wears wife beaters under your T-shirts. I'm telling you, it's the same type of guy. Undershirt guy. You're the same guy who looks at your muscles in the mirror at the gym guy. You have mirrors at home guy. Do it at home guy. Okay? Not at the gym guy. Do it at home guy. Yeah. You do that?
No.
Okay. Just checking.
If I went to the gym, I would.
We know.
For sure.
Kangaroo pouch.
I do have a question, though. Just a quick one.
What?
I think part of it is it's because these people, you're saying they play the part, they show up in their athletic performance through gear, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
But have you ever worn one of those shirts?
Yes.
Do you feel better in them?
No, I feel like it's squeezing me too tight.
So I feel too. That's what I was gonna say.
It's but it could be because I don't got rocks yet, and so it feels like it's squeezing me too tight.
You got to get rocks first.
Got to get rocks, and then it can squeeze me too tight. But some people I'm like that. No, I'm not wearing shirts that are that tight. In fact, I 9 times out of 10 will always have a hoodie on at the gym in the summer because I want to even sweat more, dude.
Really?
Because I want to get rocks.
Oh, it's miserable.
No.
More sweat. I want to get rocks. I'm not there to show them I'm not there to show off myself. Okay. I'm there to get work done and get this bread. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm there to get this bread. Anyway, that's enough rant. We're thinking about starting like another episode of a podcast and just calling it Locker Room Talk, and then just going in on people. Going in on people like Matt and eating them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
We're just
eating
gonna
them up,
put
dude.
people's pictures on the screen and just
we're just going to put a picture up, and then we're going to rip you apart.
Them.
That's what we're going to do.
Oh, just...
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I know you're going to enjoy today's podcast. Again, continue to tell your friends, spread the word about this. We get into some really great conversation with my buddy, and I know that you're going to love it. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Jizzo.
First the barricade, now the table.
How does it work with like your like when you're going on air? How much prep does it take does it take a lot of prep?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of prep throughout the day, throughout the week. Like when I, just like everybody else, when I wake up, the first thing I do is grab my phone. So then
are you a routine guy?
Yeah, super routine.
Are
man.
you?
Yeah, I mean,
since when?
To the T. I've always been like that
really?
my whole life. Yeah, I mean, I got that from my parents. Like, I'm overly on time to everything. If I'm not, I'm one of those people that, if you're late, if you're on time, you're late.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm so scheduled, but sometimes it kind of hurts me too. So.
Why?
Because if something's like out of my schedule, like it bothers me.
Yeah.
Like, hey, do you want to go do this? Like, this is the time I
it
usually do
doesn't fit.
this. Yeah, you know what I mean? So, but
Is it hard for you to go with the flow then?
it is. It's really hard. It's something that I feel that I need to work on, because I feel like I lose out on doing certain things because I'm so scheduled with my life.
Yeah.
It's wake up, it's do this, it's get ready for work, it's the gym after work, it's eat. I gotta eat in there sometime. You know what I mean? So when someone asks me to do something, I'm like, I'm supposed to be doing this at this time. It kind of throws off my schedule and it like bothers me, but it's sort of a bad habit. But
it's funny too how much like that is like personality, because you'll see people that are like super go with the flow and they can't stand a schedule and couldn't write a schedule like for their life. Mm-hmm. And then the opposite is true. Like people that are so structured, and something gets thrown in the mix, almost like ruins their day. Ruins their day.
Yeah. And
do you know what are you into like personality types and like enneagrams and that kind of stuff? You ever taken those tests?
No, I haven't.
Dude, you need to do it. Enneagrams, pull up enneagrams. Is that what it's called? Enneagrams? Is that how you say it? It's weird because you've heard of like the personality types, right? Like I'm an ENFJ. There's like different, you know what I'm talking about? You're like, I just do radio guy.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm just my own personality.
but like, it's basically like horoscopes,
okay,
but like a studied version. You know what I mean? Well, I guess horoscopes are studied too, but it helps you honestly like understand like how your brain works. Because it's funny, I think that like with people there, you have these things that you see as like, oh, I need, like you were saying, like I need to work on that. I need to be better at that. Mm-hmm. But then how much of it is like your psychology literally working against you? Like part of it is what makes you great. I think that's true for you. You've been doing radio since high school.
Right out of high school. Yeah, literally. So this has been like pretty much all I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because side note, we went to high school together.
Yeah, Bullard.
Yeah, I was way cooler than you back then. He laughs.
Don't make me bring up the hair, bro.
He knows it's not true. That's why he laughed. But you've honestly been doing it since back then. Because that's one thing that I admire about you. Like I've watched people from our class, and you watch their lives, right? And like everybody's trying to figure out what it is that they're going to do. Mm-hmm. A lot of them still haven't figured out, like what it is that they're going to do. But you literally have been on the same trajectory, like stacking your chips since
exactly
since high school.
I mean, I've been always well organized. I had like good grades in high school. I stayed on it. I was like very disciplined. You know, I did sports. I had goals. But like you said, I see a lot of people that we went to high school with, and it's just like they still haven't figured it out. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm just like, dang. But
how did you figure it out? Do you think that's part of your personality though? Like, were you never baited or enticed to like, I'm gonna go do something else? You seem like you knew. I mean, you knew young.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, radio actually wasn't something that I thought I would initially do. I knew I would have like a career job, and in college, I decided to take an internship in radio just because I didn't have like an actual job. I was just like always like on it with school, and then I took the internship, and I just sort of like fell in love with radio, doing what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And once I like something, like I'm gonna attack it, and I'm not gonna give up on it, and that's what I did. And then I finally got hired on part time, and then I've just grown, and I continue to grow throughout my career now. So, yeah, man, I just stay on things. I mean, I don't let things distract me. I don't go off course. So, like you said, that's been me my whole life. I mean,
has there ever been anything that you thought maybe I will dip and go do that instead?
Like other than this career?
Yeah.
No, I like this industry, but I'd like to maybe go other places with it. Like I'd like to do TV would be cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, I do some video stuff. But yeah, I mean, I like music, so anything that's tied to music and entertainment is like where I want to be. I mean,
yeah. What does the future of radio really look like? Because radio, I mean, it's changed so much probably since when you got into it.
Oh yeah, everything like is streaming. You know what I mean? So what our company has done is like really embrace that. So we have like the iHeartRadio, which is a streaming service. So that's like a big.
I always think of Ryan Seacrest when I hear iHeartRadio. Are they not like? I don't know why I think that.
Well, I mean, he's part of our company.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's like the man in our company.
Right.
I mean, so he's like the king.
Do you know him?
I've never met him, but I mean, he's really dope at what he does, and I don't understand how he fits everything he does in one day. I mean, this dude's on TV, he's on radio, he's got shows, he's a producer.
Yeah.
I mean, so like someone like him is like where I would want to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, so shout out to Ryan Seacrest.
Seacrest is the man. Do you remember when he was like first starting out?
Yeah. He started out. I mean, he was always on Kiss FM. And
so he was doing before Idol and all that. He was
yeah.
on...
So he was in radio in L.A., and then that's how he got the gig for American Idol. And then obviously that took off. So that took off his career.
Yeah.
And then he just been doing it since then.
It's funny how that works too. Like it always seems like it's like it can be the most random thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like one little thing will just take off. You know what I mean?
Have you had I mean, like, you know how most people talk about in the journey to like become what they want to become. There's hardship. There's difficult times that you got to kind of push through. That's why I asked, like, have you ever had the temptation to jump ship and do something else? Because I feel like a lot of people don't know how to push through the pain of growth. Growth requires pain.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you
for
know what
sure.
I mean? Like that's just a part of it. You have to embrace uncertainty. You have to embrace unknowns. All those kinds of things. Have you had those moments for you? Or?
I did in the beginning, and it's funny that you brought that up because there was times, when I was doing the internship, like you don't get paid.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I'm working all these hours, like and then there was opportunities where, like there was openings, but I wasn't like picked. And then you get obviously frustrated.
Yeah.
Is this for me? Then you got like other people in my ear, like, man, you just need a job. And I'm just like, that's cool, but this is what I really want to attack. You know what I mean? In the meantime, I'm still good. I'm still going to school. I'm still living at home. But it's just like, there was that time where it's like, is this for me? Then you finally get on, you get excited, and then I was moving up. But then there was, of course, those times where it just kind of felt like I was just being idle for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, dang, all right, I'm not growing.
Yeah.
What do I do next? And then like more opportunities come towards you. So a lot of people within the company, like outside the company in other cities, have been reaching out to me for different stuff. So that's
Still
been exciting.
now?
Yeah. So my network has gotten bigger.
Are you gonna leave the no?
It's been in my head for a while, but like anything else, I'm just waiting for the right opportunity. So in the meantime, though, it's been good to me. I'm born and raised here, so it's been good. But I wouldn't be opposed to it. Yeah.
There's a lot of assumption, though, which I think is interesting to talk to you and hear kind of like how routined and seemingly, I mean, like disciplined like you are. There's an assumption about people like within entertainment that all they do is party and, girls and the whole, I mean, and yet that is a part of your shtick and what you do. And I mean, that's a lot of your clientele and things like that. How do you keep from getting baited into things that could, I don't know. I mean, the people, blow their lives a lot of times by not
sure.
even, I don't even think it's about the vices. I think it's about just the lack of focus and lack of discipline to say, okay, there's a space for that in my life, but that's not real life. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like if you're going to be something, you have to be serious. How do you stay on that path, being in the industry?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, especially in my industry, there's a lot of temptation. You know what I mean? But the way I look at it is like I've worked so hard that I'm not going to make a stupid decision that's going to take me off course. You know what I mean? And a lot of that is how I was raised. You know what I mean? My dad was very disciplined to me. You know, I was one of those kids that if I got like a B minus, it was like you're in trouble. You know what I mean? So I've always just had that like I don't want to say like fear, but just like I don't want to mess up. You know what I mean? I still have that inside of me that what my dad has put into me, like don't do anything stupid. You know what I mean? So that's always going through my head in every decision that I make. And, you know, I don't want to lose what I've worked so hard for because I wanted to go do something stupid. So that's kept me on course. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're very aware of where it can take you.
Self-aware.
Which is it weird? Because I do think that like, it's the world we live in, like, because that's also part of your, I mean, that's what you talk about every day, right? Like that's the stuff that's interesting to people. You do your, you know, do you do like your asking for a friend segment that you do, right?
Yeah.
And it's always usually centered around relationship, like trauma or gossip, or is this appropriate or this not appropriate?
Yeah.
And you got to sling opinions about it. And when you listen to the radio and you're listening to a morning show or an afternoon show, people want to. That's the stuff people want to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. So people want to talk about real life drama all the time. So obviously, I cater to that, and I have my own opinions about it. And you know, people have their opinions about it. Yeah. But obviously, I'm not going to go down a road that's going to mess me up in my career. But you know, it's entertainment for other people to see, you know, what I have to say or what other people have to say. So it's something that I highlight. You know, in my show and on videos, and you know, the drama is like what people want to hear, whatever. It's funny, it's entertainment, but you know, at the end of the day, that's just what it is. It's entertainment.
Have you had any like awkward on-air moments, like your most awkward?
You know, interviews could be awkward sometimes. Really? Yeah, I mean, some of the artists, you think they might be cool, and they're just like giving you nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, what if you were just talking to me right now, and I'm just like one word answers?
Yes
like
it would be,
it'd be awkward. So there's been those times, but you know, not so bad. You know, when people call in, I don't ever take live calls. So never. No, that's no. Bro.
So even if it sounds live, it's not really. It's not like really live.
No, I pre-record that stuff, and because if someone cusses, then I get in trouble. You know what I mean? Or if they say something stupid, and you know, people.
So are there standards like that? Like, you can't cuss on?
I mean,
what is it considered if it's not online? Like if it's just like
public radio?
Yeah, it's just public radio.
Yeah, basically.
Are there different rules though? Because like a podcast forum, I mean, you can say whatever you want, or like a.
So we got FCC rules,
okay,
obviously. So if somebody like heard it and they wanted to file a complaint, then we can get in trouble, we can get fined, all that. You know what I mean? So obviously we don't cross those lines. Yeah. You know what I mean? But there has been times where people, you know, human nature, they slip up or whatever. I've luckily never slipped up. If I did, I just hope no one reports me or I don't get caught. But so that's the reason why I screen the calls would be the radio term. Because I'm not trying to put somebody on air and they just start cussing up a storm. I mean, we do have like a delay and a dump button, you know, where it's like 10 seconds and I could catch it before it actually hits the airwaves. But I don't even want to do that. So
it gets messy that way. Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
That's like the I think about the Super Bowl thing with the Janet Jackson and
the slip up,
yeah. But I mean, how do they not catch it? Like, are things really live like that?
Yeah,
I feel like somebody was like, "We're gonna let this go live, boys."
I mean, yeah,
you know what I mean? Like somebody had to make the call.
Yeah. I mean, they want to stir up controversy.
I'm probably that guy though. Like
I'm gonna let this slip in.
Let's just ride the wave and see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate, man, but It
happens.
Yeah.
But that's what's funny to me is how American culture is so weird to me, because the things that we laugh about on one day will also ridicule and point fingers at the next. Yeah. You know, you look at that in like American humor, right? Like we laugh at jokes about, I don't know, sexual harassment, about all these kinds of things. And then the next morning when the headline hits, nobody wants to laugh about these things anymore. So it's kind of a weird I think especially for people that are in the public eye, and especially for people that have jobs like you, to know where is that line all the time.
Yeah, it's tough.
You know, like how do I know what I can say and what I can't say without being on the chopping block tomorrow? Yeah,
especially this day and age, it's gotten real sensitive. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'll do, like, especially if I'm making videos and, you know, we'll say something and I'm just like, should we do that? You know what I mean? Because I could see this side. I can see someone saying this. I can see someone saying that. So, or there's times I'm just like, you know what, like, let's just let it fly. You know what I mean? This is how I feel. We're just going to say it. But yeah, there's all those times where you're thinking about, like, are we crossing the line by saying that? Right. You know what I mean? And especially nowadays, you know, it gets out there so fast. There's so many platforms for people to reach out to you directly, and it's tough. Yeah. So.
Especially with, I think when it comes to like taking a stand, I know for me, it's always the conversation, is it worth it? Like, is the risk of standing up for this or making the statement, even if it is an opinion, like, am I willing to go to bat for this? Like, is it something that I believe, you know, in that much on that level with serious stuff? I feel like the part that's a lot of times harder is the comedy, is the humor, which is also like a huge part of entertainment. Yeah. You know? And you look at the greats, that the ones that don't care, you know, the ones that are like, this is who I am and this is what I'm going to say. I feel like there's a part of us, something in all of us that like admires that.
They say what they feel. Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, so many of us aren't really willing to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And that's it's funny that you bring that up, because at what point is it okay? Because it seems like it could be okay for a stand-up to say something while he's doing his act. Yeah. But then if a regular person says that same exact thing, like, you cross the line. So is it okay that he says it because it's part of his job? Right. You know what I mean? So then I ask myself that question. You know what I mean?
It's such there's not like clear answers.
Yeah.
You know?
Because even some of them have been getting in trouble for what they've been saying. Right. And it's just like, well, they're comedians, they're jokes. Like, I don't know. Like,
but that's the double standard.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You literally never know. Like, I could be ridiculed for whatever tomorrow. You know, people hear, I think, what they want to hear, and they fixate on what they want to fixate on. And the sad part of it is, it's almost whatever catches the headline or whatever gets the most likes or whatever gets the most views. Mm-hmm. There's never, like, stuff that is just factual and boring never makes the headlines. No. People want the gossip.
Or even like the positive stuff never makes the headlines.
Yeah. It has to be controversial.
Yeah, exactly.
I almost think that if you're in that industry, though, you kind of have to, like, own that or be okay with that in some way.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to, like, talk about it, I guess. You can have your opinion one way or the other, but it's definitely what people want to hear. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it's what drives ratings or, you know, stuff like that. But I don't dive in too much of, like, the gossip stuff. If you listen to more of like what I talked about, I like to talk about interesting things. I like to talk more pop culture type of stuff. I don't really get into the serious. Like, I'll never talk politics on my radio show. It's just, I mean, there's a station for that. You know what I mean? I don't dive into those, like, serious things like abortion or things like that. You know what I mean? Just I leave that alone. I want to make people laugh more than I want people to think like, oh my God, he's got, you know.
Well, you got to choose what you're going to be, like, what you're going to be known for, I think, in some ways. I heard a statement about authenticity, and the person was talking about the thing about being authenticity always will attract, like, it attracts your audience, but authenticity will also repel a certain audience.
It's that balance.
And you're never going to be the person that attracts and just attracts. Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to have somebody that, you know, doesn't like your radio show, doesn't like your podcast, doesn't like your music. Yeah. So I think that there is something important about the authentic thing, because you see people that, if you cater too much to what people want, you get an audience that isn't really even your audience. Yeah. They don't even like you for you or for, you know, your on-air personality or what you bring to the table. Yeah. You know, and then you're almost, I don't know if you ever feel that. I feel that sometimes, or I have to fight that. I have to fight the urge to be baited into just giving people what they want.
Yeah, rather than what you want to say.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's hard when you're in entertainment or you're doing something, you know, like, I think about this that is for, you know, it's for a public audience. Like, but at the same time to put forth something that's very authentic to you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like you want to be an authentic person, but then you could turn some people off, but then you want to cater to your audience, but you don't want to just cater to them and not be real to yourself. Yeah. It's a balance.
And I love that, but to me, like, those are the people that I love. The people that I love the most, the people that we're talking about, that like, oh, dude, you shouldn't have said that, but you don't care, and like people love you because of that. You know, it's like and I think too, like, certain people, it's almost like leadership. Like you can't just lead based upon your role. Like true leadership happens when you're respected, when you've earned a space or a place to say something and people want to follow. I think that it's the same in a career. You know, when there's some sense of longevity, it seems like it's permissible for you to say certain things that maybe other people can't say.
Yeah, definitely.
You know. But at the same time, you know, I'm just thinking out loud here. I think that it's interesting because sometimes it's the lack of restraint that also puts people on the map.
Yeah.
I think about artists like Katy Perry. I mean, she was making music for years and all that, but it seems like not until she got like super controversial that like people just started turning heads. Like I remember when I Kissed a Girl came out and and like that took the world by storm. Now she's not like that. I mean, she didn't seem as like edgy as she was, but it almost seemed like it was that edginess that got people to look at her.
Yeah, people want personality and edginess. Same thing with athletes. You know, the quiet athlete is always the athlete that doesn't really get many of the endorsements, but then it's the loud athlete that dances on the field, that says things in the media. He's making all the money. He's getting all the fans. It's like people like that. You know what I mean?
Isn't that kind of sad though?
Yeah.
Like, isn't it sad that we're like that?
Yeah.
Like,
we want like the bad person, or I mean, I don't know.
But that's what's so freaking weird to me about humans is like, we want that, but then we judge and we you know what I mean? We tear people down for that same thing.
So then what is it then?
I don't know. Like, it's just we don't pay attention to things that are just great people. Like you
know what it is? It's those people are boring.
Yeah.
Quotes. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's just like, oh, they do everything by the book. That's not fun. You know what I mean? I want to see this guy that's doing the outlandish. He's saying things that's crazy. It might offend me a little bit at times, but that's more entertaining to me.
Do you think that we do that though because we wish we could be like that? Like sometimes I wonder with people, like, do we pay attention to the people that are really just being fully them and saying crazy stuff, not because we like the crazy stuff, but because there's a
part of us that wants to be that
wants to have feel like we have the freedom to voice how we really feel or voice what we really believe without the fear of the repercussions of what that could bring.
That's true.
You know,
almost like living through them.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the same thing that when a lot of times people, I mean, you learn this in like psychology, but a lot of people that will try to tear you down for your boldness or tenacity to go after your dream. The reason that they tear you down and try to keep you from going after your dream is because they don't have the courage.
That's true.
To pursue their own.
Yeah.
So rather than me squaring my shoulders and say, I'm going to go after this no matter what anybody thinks, I'd try to discourage you or talk you down.
Yeah,
or,
exactly.
Or shame you for your pursuits. But really, it's not you. Mm-hmm. Really, it's
you.
It's me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. So I wonder sometimes how much that is connected. You know.
It kind of goes back to that, like being a hater. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you can't do it, so you want to see someone else like not be able to do it too. Yeah. It's like pulling people down. It's the crabs in a bucket mentality. Yeah.
What is that?
It's like, like when crabs are trying to get out, but then like the other crabs are kind of like pulling them down with them. Yeah. So
I was talking to this friend of mine. She does Broadway, and she was talking about how like she thinks in our society, especially in entertainment, there's so much like confidence in lack, which is the principle of because you have success, there's not enough success for me too. Mm-hmm. So rather than each and every one of us realizing that we have something authentic and unique that we bring to the table, I tell people like, you have something that when you do it, just by the mere fact that you're like an individual, nobody, like for you, nobody can do radio like you because you're you. Mm-hmm. They can try to be you, but they will never be able to do it like you do it. That is a weapon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if we would all like embrace that and realize that no matter what industry I go into or what I go after, as long as I focus on being the best version of myself, right? Like being disciplined to actually strengthen the giftings and the abilities or the talents, the skills that I have, being disciplined or having routines. Like if I stick with that, there's really enough success for everybody because we're all so authentically made.
Yeah.
And created and here, you know? And it seems like so much of the time we forget that, man, you know?
I think sometimes people just like, they see what people have and they want that, but they don't realize that they could also do that. Maybe they're being lazy. They don't want to attack it. Like, oh man, why does that person have that?
Yeah.
I mean, well, it's like you have something too.
Yeah.
Maybe you haven't found it yet.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not working hard enough at it.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, everybody can do what they do in their own industry, their own way. I mean,
and it's a discovery process. I feel like too, like figuring out. You know, so many people are like. I do think that that's the false illusion that a lot of people that are success and there's not necessarily a space for it, but it's hard. You don't always hear the journey and the struggle. Like I think that when we hear that, like when people are honest about like I didn't always know. I stumbled into this. You know, like you even saying like I kind of just stumbled really into it.
Yeah, took an internship.
I think
and here I am.
So many people think like, oh, I don't know what to do because I don't know my passion. You know, I heard somebody say one time, if you don't know your passion, follow your curiosity. Like, what are you curious about? What are things that spark your interest? And being willing to, you know, to walk that out.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
And realize that the way I like to say it is I do think that in our society we force people into lanes too much, like the whole stay in your lane concept.
Yeah.
And I think we almost like contain people into whatever. If you're going to be a radio DJ, then you just be a radio DJ. You know what I mean? If you're going to be an athlete, then you stay in the athlete bubble. And I think the damage with that is I think that so many of us have. I think my opinion is that we're put on the face of this planet to exhaust our potential. And I think that there's so many people, because society forces them into a lane, they never exhaust the full potential of who they're supposed to fully become.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Like you could be so much more than what you already are.
Yeah.
But, you know, that stay in your lane mentalities maybe got you discouraged.
Yeah.
Like, oh, maybe this is all I need to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, maybe if you took a chance over here, maybe you could be even greater at that. You know what I mean? But maybe you're scared. People have knocked you down for it. Yeah.
One I think too, I've been one of the conversations I've been having with people a lot is like how in our society we're really addicts to comfort. Like we like comfort, and a lot of people, even in their pursuit of success, they want to be successful so that they can be comfortable.
Yeah.
Like that's the goal, right? Like if I can just get there, then I can chill.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is, to me, that goes back to the conversation we're having, is that that almost is your cap. Like that almost becomes your ceiling then, and you can never become anything past that. Like the hunger that we are so big on culturally, like, right? Like stay hungry, like get this bread. You know what I mean?
Secure
like,
the bag.
Yeah, secure the bag, exactly. I feel like that's a mentality that you almost have to never lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether you call it curiosity, whether you call it, you know, following your passion or where that may lead you, like constantly staying on that journey.
Yeah, you see a lot of the, you know, people, some of the greats, that they were never content. You know what I mean? I'm so successful, but I want to be more successful. Yeah. I'm a billionaire, but I can have even more. You know what I mean? And I think that needs to be the mentality, because even for myself, you know, I'm human. Sometimes I'm content. You know what I mean? And sometimes I just got to really snap myself out of it. Like, okay, let me do something that's going to like make me not feel content. Let me feel refreshed a little bit. Let me go outside of the box a little bit, because if I stay right here, then it's going to be boring. Yeah. I might start to get depressed because I feel like nothing's changing around me, but I got to make the change. I mean, don't ever stay content in what you're doing. You're never going to be greater. Yeah.
People let themselves get old way too fast. And when I think of like get old, I'm talking about, like I'll tell people, like don't let yourself get old, and I'm not talking about age. I think old is when you no longer try things that are new, no longer try things that make you uncomfortable. There's something about being young. Everything is a fresh experience, and you almost get like butterflies in your stomach. Like, I've never done this before. I don't know what this is going to feel like. But then when you get old, it's like everybody, you know, I've done that. I know what this is like. And that's where the comfort sets in.
Yeah.
And when you get old like that, not an age, but a mentality, that's when you become irrelevant. Like, that's where you have, I mean, you look at people's lives and you look at them and you're like, it's so sad.
Yeah,
It's almost as sad.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And then you see these guys that are like in their 50s, 60s, 70s, like still crushing it. And what is the difference? Well, one got comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're like, well, now I just retire and just sit and fish and drink and just let my life. Yeah. But then the ones that even guys that are our age, you almost think of them as like almost like as like counterparts or people that are on the same playing field with you, even though they're 40 years down the road from where you're at. But because their mentality is like in the same hungry space.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, to like be going after it.
Yeah, you got to attack new goals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, set different goals, or you're going to be content. Complacency is like one of the worst things you can do. And I know human nature is like, if you're comfortable, everything's cool right now, I'm just going to ride this out. That's not the way to go. I mean,
how have you found, like, how do you set goals where like it's like the path is not clear? I think that entertainment is interesting like this, because if you want to become a lawyer, you go to law school, and then after you're done with law school, you can intern with somebody, learn how the business is ran. Then you can either start your business or you can go work for a branch company.
Yeah.
And there's like a clear trajectory for how this works. Entertainment is tough because it's not like that.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you can't say, I want to be a superstar.
Yeah.
Let me go to superstar school.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
There's no steps for it. You
No,
know what I mean? Yeah.
there's not. And sometimes I feel like that's why people in the arts don't get taken seriously. And that's like a soapbox for me. Like, I get so frustrated with that.
It's not a real job.
Right.
Yeah.
But the reason people say it's not a real job is only because there's not a clear-cut trajectory for that.
Yeah.
Guarantee you, and I guarantee that you've seen this and you probably have lived this, every musician that has ever made it big, every radio DJ, every person in entertainment who has ever made it big, they've stacked their chips for a lot of them just as long as the person that's gone to law school.
Yep.
They just did it in the shadows, and they were putting out music that nobody ever listened to.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Year after year after year.
Yeah, they weren't just a celebrity overnight. You know what I mean? They put in the footwork.
Right.
They made music that no one was listening to,
Right.
and then they took these steps too. They didn't necessarily maybe go through college for it or take tests to get there or get a degree, but they definitely took the steps to get there. We just always see the end result.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But they've been putting in the work.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Was that ever hard? Like, did you ever experience that flack of, dude, do something with, you know, like where you weren't taken seriously for your...
Yeah, I mean, I've been told, you know, especially when I was first getting into it, like, that's not a real job.
Yeah.
Like, why? Is a real job me going in a 9 to 5 and being stressed at the end of the day? Because it's a 9 to 5. Is that a real job?
Yeah.
Is it not a real job because you see me happy all the time? And
See, that's the real stinger, though, right
Yeah.
there. You know what I mean?
It's almost like, you know, a real job is I want to see this guy waking up early, going to work, coming home, and have this routine of this 9 to 5, you know, depressed at work. And it's like they don't see that. They see that I'm having fun with my job. I like my job. And it's like, oh, that's not a real job. Well, why?
Which still probably comes back to their self-reflection, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Usually the people that say that kind of stuff are the people that feel imprisoned by the life that they've created.
Yeah.
I see that all the time.
Yeah.
I've actually had to, there's been times in my life where I've had to check myself because I've seen, you know, you look at people that are successful or doing things or accomplishing things. And if you're not careful, and I think it's part of the comparison conversation, but if you see it on social media or you see it wherever, I guess social media is the main place we see it, but we see people being successful. And it's funny, if you're not like patrolling your own soul, there's like a part of you that'll almost like be irritated with someone else's success.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's such a weird thing. You know what I mean? And what's weird about it is if you're honest and like self-evaluate, the reason that I think a lot of times you get discouraged is because you're not fully content or happy with your pursuits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They're going for it. They're risking it all. And
Yeah.
here you are comfortable.
Yeah.
And so rather than realize you can do that too,
You
dude.
can do that too,
like, you can do it too. Like,
Yeah.
if you'd shake it off, let go of the expectations of people and be willing to risk,
Yeah.
right? Like, you could be doing those things too.
You know, sometimes it's fear. You know what I mean, it's that whole scared of change mentality. You know, I find myself thinking about that too sometimes, like, get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Because you never know. I mean, no one has ever rode the comfort zone to success.
Never.
I mean, it's been hardships. It's been taking the risk. It's been, I only have a few dollars in my pocket, but I'm going to go do it. I mean, you hear the success stories all the time.
Yeah.
I was broke. I mean, and then they just attacked what they did.
Yeah.
So it's get out of that comfort zone. It's don't be scared. It's go out there and attack it.
Go for it.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And that's really what it takes, is an ability to. You have to decide if you're willing to risk it or not.
Yeah.
Risk it for the biscuit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But like, really, like the being able to like conquer your fear, look fear in the face, and say, you got to be willing to say, this may not work, but I'm okay with it not working.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I want to risk it.
I think people are scared to fail too much.
Yeah.
But I mean, you hear it from famous people all the time, is that they failed, but they learned from it. You know what I mean? So if you're not willing to fail, you're not willing to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good. And what's weird to me, or I guess the sad part is like most of that like conversation that we're even having is not like foreign to humans these days.
Yeah.
Like, we all know we should risk more.
Yeah.
We all know we shouldn't be afraid of going for it. We all know all the power statements of live your truth and be yourself and, you know, like be authentic. Yet the brutal reality is most of us will never do that.
Mm-hmm. You hear it all the time. You know, you hear the inspiration speeches, you hear the go out there and get it, and you're just like, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to be that. And then you just see they don't do it. You know what I mean?
Why? Why do you think we're like that?
I think it just goes back to that fear.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I really think it is, because it's like, it sounds good. Yeah, I'm going to do it. But when it's all said and done, are you really going to?
Yeah.
That's where it's at. Like, no, I'm good where I'm at.
Yeah. And it's weird too, like how fast, if you don't do it, like if you're not intentional, you wake up and 10 years are gone.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, whoa, I was going to do that, and it's been 6 months and I haven't done anything.
Yeah, it's that procrastination. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny that every time New Year's comes around, you know, we always talk about it on the radio. What's your New Year's resolution? And, you know, people this, that, and the third. And I'm always like, and people always ask me, what's yours? And I go, I never have one, because when I want to make a change, I make it in the moment. Why wait? I mean, why put something off? Because then that's just going to lead me to procrastinate. And procrastination can be turned into a habit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for most people, I think it is,
exactly.
you know?
Yeah.
And even when you say that it's not, it is. Like, you find yourself in that pit, that endless routine.
Like, everybody has the same 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
What are you doing with it? You know, it's not like, you know, the famous people, they don't have, you know, 28 hours.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they have the same 24. They're just, they're maximizing their day.
And it's really in the simplest things. I was talking with somebody the other day, and they were telling me that, like, with their kids, they do this thing. It was a mom, and she was telling me, like, she has, like, 2 kids at home, and she says that she tells them, like, when we're going to clean the house, and we're only going to do 30 minutes, but if all 3 of us do 30 minutes, like, that's an hour and a half worth of work.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was thinking, I'm like, that's so simple.
Yeah.
But, like, all of a sudden, like, I was like a light bulb moment for me, you know what I mean?
Where did
like,
they come up with this?
Yeah. Like, if you would just put in, I think if people would just be disciplined in the little, like, whatever your dream is, dude, I get it, you're working a 9 to 5 because maybe you can't be full-time in what it is that you want to do. Mm-hmm. But what if you put in an hour a day?
Yeah,
what if you put
just
in
a little bit?
What if you just were consistent 30 minutes a day for the entire year, and every single day you put 30, well, you'd be a whole lot further along.
Yeah, it's funny. The biggest excuse that I always hear is I don't have time.
Yeah.
You know, you hear that one a lot. You know, and then how does Ryan Seacrest have time to do everything that he does? You know what I mean? Or I can't go to the gym because I don't have time.
Right.
Well, what time do you wake up?
Right.
Wake up earlier.
Right.
Go to sleep earlier. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's 24-hour gyms. Like, what's the excuse? You know?
I feel like I would hate being coached by you. You're just like, well, then get up earlier.
Yeah, exactly. I just never understood that mentality. You know what I mean? When people, like, my biggest pet peeve is people being late. You know, I hate that. And it's like, well, it's like, yo, I'm not late.
Yeah.
I'm never late.
Yeah.
Why I have to go do this? All right, we'll start earlier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have to go drop off my kid. Okay.
Start earlier.
Yeah, start earlier.
Get up.
Like, it's not that hard. You know what I mean? Like, I woke up a little earlier for this, but I was here on time. You know what I mean?
I've heard it said, like, we overestimate what we can do in a short amount of time, and then we underestimate what we could do in a long amount of time. You know what I mean? Over time.
It's a really good quote.
So like people, we think I'm gonna get this done by tomorrow, and just give me a week and all, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if really you would just like buckle down and say, okay, I'm gonna do a little bit every day.
Yeah.
For the whole year.
Yeah.
Like you could achieve so much more.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, you can knock it all out in a day, or you could chip at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to eat an elephant a bite at a time, as they say.
Yeah.
How did you get your name, Jizzo?
All right. So my real name.
I'm sure you get that question.
Yeah,
like all
yeah,
the
I do.
time.
So my real name, obviously, Joe, and this actually goes back to high school. So at the time, I think it was Jay-Z had a song. It was called like H to the Izzo, Hova, H to the Izzo. Yeah. So So some of my friends used to be like, "Oh, J to the Izzo," you know, Joe, J to the Izzo,
Yeah.
and then that just kind of turned into Jizzo, and it just like stuck with me. And then when I got into radio, they're like, "You got a nickname?" And I was like, "Well, a few of my friends call me this," and they're
How come they didn't like your real name? Because your last name is Nino.
Nino is cool, but the only thing about it is like no one would ever say it right. You know what I mean? And especially when you print it, like it's because it has the little accent mark over it, and like no one can ever figure, because you actually literally have to put in a code to make the N with the little accent over it. So in print all the time it never shows up. It shows up Nino. So I was just like, yeah, I'm just not gonna roll with that.
So you went with Jizzo?
Yeah, I kept it. But
How long are you gonna keep the young part though? Because you're not 18
I actually
anymore,
don't.
you know what I mean?
I've actually don't say it on the radio anymore.
What, the young part?
Yeah, the young part.
When did you ditch it?
Maybe like 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, but for
Did
all
you
my
like think about it and we're like, you know what?
I did.
I'm not that
yeah,
young
I'm not
anymore.
young anymore. I mean, there's
It's like Lil Bow Wow.
Yeah,
you
it's
know what I
just
mean? At
Bow
some
Wow.
point, you gotta.
Lil Wayne,
You're
I
not
don't
so
know.
little, man. Maybe it's more of a height thing. You know what I mean?
it's just like he's like a little person.
so
That's not gonna change.
That's not gonna change. That will be the same.
Yeah, so that's how I got the name. Yeah.
What's your favorite segment to do on radio right now?
So at 3:00, I do my 3:00 question. That's been really fun, and people always ask me like, "Where do you come up with these questions?" I mean, it could be something simple like, "What's your favorite kind of food?" I don't know, or it could be like, "Who's the greatest superhero of all time," or whatever. And I literally just go throughout the day. If I see something on social media, I screenshot it. You should see my phone. I just have nothing but screenshots that I just see stuff online. Oh, I'm gonna talk about that. I'm gonna do this. Or if we're having a conversation like, "Oh, Nick said something cool," I'm gonna write that down and not give him credit for it.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so that's where I come up with these things. I mean, it's prep. Prep is like, that's what you need. Prep.
There's so much. It's so interesting too. Like and I guess it's people that maybe are used to running on maybe they're just their talent. How many people like don't put in the prep work or don't even realize how important that like is?
Yeah.
Like I talk to people sometimes like, well, what are you doing today? Like, do you have a plan for today? Like, no, I just get up and go. You know what I mean? And some of that I think goes back to kind of like the reoccurring theme of what we're talking about. I think you become less productive when there isn't the plan.
Yeah.
And for me, like, I forget more thoughts than I remember.
Yeah.
Like the most frustrating thing to me is to be, thinking about something I want to talk about or something that's really good. And then you go, what was that thing again? The next day, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
You got to write it down.
What was that question?
You know, it's funny you said that because I feel, and I think Will Smith was talking about this. Like, you're either born with it or you work for it. You know, you have the skill or you build the skill. And I've always saw myself as somebody that I wasn't necessarily born with a lot of talent. I'd be the first person to be like, talent wise on air, I'm not the greatest, but I work for that skill. You know what I mean? Like if you knew me and you knew me, I was pretty quiet. If I don't really know you, I don't say much.
Right.
And that's why a lot of people that see me now from high school, like, you're in radio, like you were quiet. Like I still kind of am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's just a different, like once the mic comes on, I'm a different person. I bring that skill out. It's a skill that I've built. I worked for that skill. So there's some people that just have it. You know, you can turn on a mic and they just have it. They were born to just talk. They're really good. For me, I build these skills, and maybe that's why I am the way I am. I've learned to just build these skills of being on time, being a hard worker, not forgetting things, writing things down. My prep is like really good because I know I almost have to like make up for the lack of talent that I wasn't born with. So it's just like a skill that I've built, and I continue to build my skill and craft my work.
Well, really, I mean, those are the ones that really become the greats. The challenge with the people, and I see this all the time, man. The challenge with the people that it all just comes a little too easy.
They take it for granted.
They take it for granted, and then when they experience adversity, they don't know how to push through it because they never learned how to work.
Because talent usually gets them through it, but sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
you're eventually going to hit a ceiling.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't understand. How come I can't get through this?
Yeah.
Like, well, you have to work at this
Yeah.
one. Yeah, I mean, your talent's not going to get you through this.
And it's the people, like, it's even just the little things, like learning to be okay with hearing no.
Yeah.
Like that is it's actually a really difficult thing. And if
Yeah,
you don't have the disciplines in your life, to me, that's why I think routines are really powerful. Like the things that you're talking about, whether it be the simple things like going to the gym or doing, because it builds up like your pain tolerance almost.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
To where when you're like, hey, I have this great idea, and they say that's a stupid idea. No.
Yeah.
That you don't recluse or just become like a hermit. Like, oh, I guess I'm stupid, and I guess my ideas are bad, because it's so human.
Yeah.
But like your pain threshold,
Yeah.
like how much can you handle, is built through, I think, the work that you're talking
Because
about.
I've been denied
Yeah.
times. I've been,
Yeah.
not given the job opportunities. So I know how to like almost take that more. You know what I mean?
Right, and you can push through the pain,
no's, yeah.
the no's, and the no, you don't got it, or it's not good enough, and still say, okay, I'm gonna hustle. To me, those are Will Smith, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has the talent, but you can't reinvent yourself in your 50s like he has and
Yeah,
become
exactly.
like this, incredible, continues to be a phenomenon like their family without the hustle.
Yeah, exactly.
Without the work part, and at the same time, not allowing the work to become your identity either. Like saying I'm going to work really hard, and then I'm trusting that this is going to, in the long run, produce. But even if it doesn't, I'm going to still keep working really hard.
Yeah. Like you can't let that discourage you. You know what I mean? It's taking a no or a denied something. You got to just keep working at it.
Well, because you never know. You never know when it's going to break open. And I think the thing that's even heavier than that is you never know what's going to be said about you after you're gone. Like there's a lot of people that their legacy didn't even really kick in until they died.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre to
You
me.
see it a lot of times in musicians or, celebrities all the time. It goes back to that, why didn't you support them when they were alive?
Yeah.
So.
And then for the artist too, it's like,
Yeah.
I wish you could know how successful you were and how much
After you've died,
and
yeah.
how much it may not have paid off, but it paid you still. It's almost like the principle of like a farmer that plants seed and eventually the seed produces a harvest. It's like I wish that person, like everything that you worked for and the seed of your life, it produced, bro.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you didn't get to see it.
Yeah.
But like I think about like Martin Luther King Jr. Like he was a pioneer in the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
There's no way he ever knew how big of a deal he would become.
Yeah, like he never got to see, like Obama and
No.
presidency and stuff that he fought
No.
for, yeah. But his legacy helped transcend that.
He paved the way. It wouldn't have happened without him.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
exactly.
all, he's not thinking when he's standing up or he's going to help, Rosa Parks on the bus or whatever, like, I'm going to have a holiday named after me.
Yeah,
you know what I
right.
mean? Or people are going to quote me for years to come.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be, he was just doing what he believed. It was work.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about adversity.
So do you feel we don't appreciate people or things in the moment?
I think for sure we don't appreciate
It's
things
that
in
whole
the moment.
mentality is you don't appreciate till it's gone, right? Yeah.
But I don't think that we appreciate ourselves in the moment.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the real struggle is because our self-worth is dependent upon when I get there.
Yeah, yeah.
I will be worth something when I show the world what I got. And it's
Yeah.
like you're doing that now.
Yeah, yeah.
It is everything that you're doing now that will one day get people to remember that
That's true.
that you walk the face of this planet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
My thing is when I'm gone, I want people to know that I was here.
Yeah, yeah.
But the reality is, a lot of times you're going to be underappreciated while you're here.
Yeah, exactly.
You're never really
Yeah.
going to see. I mean,
Yeah.
that is the great devastation, right? Like you go to a funeral, it's like, well, why didn't you tell them this stuff when they were
Yeah,
alive?
exactly. I always say that I wish I could like die and see myself looking down at who would show up to my funeral
Gosh.
and then obviously come back to life. But
Gosh.
just to see like who would show up, what would be said. You know what I mean? I would be so curious at that.
Bro,
Like the most random people would be there like, oh wow, you liked me?
Can I tell you what? I've thought of some crazy stuff, but I don't know that I've ever thought about that. Like, just think about that for a second. Like,
I think about that all the time.
Who would be at my funeral?
Yeah.
And who wouldn't? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, who would show up? Like, you dirty son of a...
Like, oh, wow, okay. I thought we were
I
cool,
thought we
yeah.
were cool.
Yeah.
And you had a business luncheon to go
Yeah,
to or something.
exactly.
You know what I mean? You were on vacation. But yeah, for real. I think about that a lot. I don't think about that, but I think about like there was an old, I can't remember the song, but it was an old song, and the lyric was like, "Who's gonna watch you die?" was the lyric, and it was like a really cool, like I think it was like Death Cab for Cutie or somebody like that, like back in those days. You see it? Who's gonna watch you die? Huh? What Sarah said. Yeah, what Sarah said. Play a little bit of the song, because I want you to feel the vibes, dude. Like, are you a bath guy? I feel like you're a bath guy. Like, you take a bath and light candles.
I don't.
You don't?
With candles? Why did you have to add that in? You're like, oh, it bubbles in there.
It's not the same. Like, you got to have candles, otherwise you're disgusting. That's disgusting. Like, people who live in apartments and take baths in their apartment shower, if you're not lighting a candle, like, I'm concerned about you as a person. Because it helps, bro.
Yeah.
That's like, you know what I mean?
Sets the mood, right?
When it takes away, like, so baths are disgusting. Like,
Yeah.
have you
you're
thought
just
about
soaking
that?
in your dirt.
You're soaking in your dirt,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
And then, like, the fact that how many...
So take a shower and then relax in a bath. Yeah. your skin's
Exactly
like all
right. Yeah.
wrinkly at that time.
Okay, play the song. Okay, so feel the vibes, like the piano vibes.
Yeah.
So like, go to the Who's Gonna Watch You Die lyric. Is the internet struggling? This is important. Okay. Miguel.
The internet.
You would never hire Miguel to work at B95 iHeartRadio. I'm just telling you.
Producer, I am.
Yeah, just kidding. Okay, yeah, it's not working. But anyway, so it goes on, and it just is this lyric. If it ends, "Who's gonna watch you die?" And I remember this last year, my grandfather passed away, and it was hard because it was the first person. I had people in my family die, but being like an adult and somebody that was like really close to you.
Yeah.
You know, like we spent, lots of time together or had lots of deep conversation. And then I remember sitting there, like literally watching him die and thinking of that lyric and thinking, wow, of all of the people my grandfather he was one of the hardest workers I've ever known in my life that would work. I mean, he would give you the shirt off his back. He'd work hard for you. He'd put in overtime, like call him and, hey, we need you to do this. I got you. I'll do it for you. And when it came down to that last moment, like, where are all those people that he sacrificed moments of his life with his own family for?
Yeah.
And it's like this whole brutal reality of like, I think even in the moment, like making decisions that matter with the, like, I heard someone say one time, like, how have you become like successful in what you're doing? And like, oh no, it was like, how have you become successful and avoided like scandal and avoided like being, put in a place where you had great regret. And they said that I always lived with the end in mind. Like I always
I don't want this to be scarred on me. Basically.
Yeah. And I think that it goes beyond like your reputation, but I think like making decisions that matter, like with people that matter. And I think in your career and whatever, I think that was the thing about my, watching my grandfather pass away is it's like, man, you work so hard for so many people, and like, where are those people?
Yeah.
And I think so much of the time we sacrifice, whether it be your own personal preference, whether it be your family members, whether it be friendships that really matter to you, whether it be a significant other or just like a friendship, for the sake of so many things that don't really matter in the end. So that living with the end in mind, like, am I going to care about this? Or are people going to, does this matter when it's all over?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, when it's all said and done, was that a big deal? You know what I mean?
So much of the time it's not.
Yeah, exactly. It
so
really
much of the
wasn't
time
like
it's
the
not.
things you look back at the things that you were mad about. You know, like, wow, was it really that serious?
It's
like, no,
not
it
that
wasn't.
serious,
You know what I
no.
mean? But you don't think about that in a moment.
No.
But when you get down the road, like, you look back on some things you did or said, and you're like, why did I do that? Why?
Yeah, it's that hindsight is 20/20.
Right? It's every time.
Yeah. It's weird how, and you wish, I mean, that's like the thing about life, right? Like, you wish, man, if I could get another run at this.
Yeah,
like,
every
watch
time.
out,
if I could only go back in time,
Yeah. But that's the weird thing, because you ask people, like, do you have any regrets in life? And they're like, no, I don't have any regrets because it all got me here. But it's like, okay, but if you got a do-over, would you do things different? And I think that most people, if we're like brutally honest, there's things along the way that if we could relive with the wisdom and the life experience that we have now, we would make different decisions. I just see the importance of, whether it be, because there's this balance, right? Like, even in the work and the hustle thing, like not allowing it to become your identity, not allowing it to take over your life to where that's all that matters, and all that matters is like success. Like what for you? How are you defining success right now? Because I think it changes.
Yeah.
Like I think success when you're in high school or in college, like I think the definitions of what success means to you is
to me,
almost seasonal.
It's never ending, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I could sit here and be like, yeah, I took little successful things. Like the first thing I got hired part-time.
Yeah.
Then I got full-time. Now I'm doing this. So it's like success as you go through. I mean, if someone said, do you feel yourself successful? I'd be like, yeah, but I'm not where I want to be still. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
do you think that success is defined by accolades, by things that you achieve? Or do you think that there's two parts to it? Because I think about, for me, like there's success. Like I think there's something within humanity that wants to accomplish great things.
Yeah.
Like I want to, whether it be money or, fame, or just knowing that your life counted, that it mattered. Whether for you, like you made people laugh, or you made people have a good time in the midst of a life that could be very burdensome and heavy.
Yeah.
But then is there also like this side of success that doesn't include those things? Like I think for me, like I feel like success is finding. I was interviewing a guy one time, and he defined success as finding peace in your life. Like, you know what I mean? Like an ability to be okay when things are not okay.
Yeah.
In your soul, like in the real you, despite good or bad externally. And I thought that was interesting.
You're still at peace.
Yeah.
That's a good way. I never really thought about it that way, but that would be a good way to define it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I guess I just look at it as I just want to be more successful. So I can classify myself as successful right now in what I'm doing.
Right.
But I want to be more because there's so much more out there I could still go in. There's like no ceiling, you know what I mean?
Well, you don't want to be limited by your success.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Like
sometimes
that was
it goes back to that content thing. Like, oh, I'm successful, so I'm good now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at any moment, things could change. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've talked about it on this podcast before, but they were somebody was saying how it's the same concept of if you allow yourself to hit ceilings, you'll never continue to push on towards the things that you were ultimately supposed to become. So a lot of times what pushes people to be successful is limitation.
Yeah.
Right? Like this idea of I'm missing something, I don't have what I want. But then when you achieve success, a lot of times the comfort that comes with that, and the reason you actually tap out, is because it seems like there is no more limitation.
Yeah.
And that's how companies become has-beens, or people become has-been. And this one guy was talking about, I mentioned it before, but like how you have to create that. Like you almost have to create that sense of hunger for more.
It's like thinking ahead. It's, if you look at some of the companies that shut down, they didn't think ahead. You know what I mean? You look at like Blockbuster. They were a successful video company. Netflix came in and was like, we're going to do it different. And they're like, that's not going to work.
And who's going to be next? Like, I was walking through Walmart the other day, which I don't suggest going to. There's some crazy people. Bro, Walmart is still like a zoo.
I go there for entertainment purposes.
Bro, it's like a zoo, dude.
Yeah.
Like, some of these people are like, whoa. Like, you just stand there and like stare, Like, it's really that bad.
It's fun.
It's weird how it attracts that. But I'm walking through Walmart thinking like, dude, Amazon is just getting like, would you just please put these guys out of their misery? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's no shame on whatever the guy's name that owns Walmart, but it's just like, if you're not, I mean, Amazon is like pushing the envelope. You know what I mean? Like the crazy stuff that they're doing with drone deliveries and robotic stuff.
It's forward thinking.
Yeah. But if you're not, it's so weird how what was so big just gets left behind. My brother and I were talking about LimeWire. You remember LimeWire?
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't use it though.
Yeah, whatever. You have to say that. Yes, you did.
I knew about it.
Yeah. But like when LimeWire and like what was the other one that was before that?
Napster.
Napster.
Changed the game.
You know that one, don't you?
I heard about it. I heard stories.
Read about it in an online magazine. But it's funny, like those things, like those back in the day, those are like revolutionary. Like, oh my God, like this is the new way to get music.
We don't have to buy hard copies.
Right. Yeah. But now, like no one would even.
It's the norm.
Yeah. And most people, I mean, nobody know. Like most teenagers, you're gonna. They don't know what LimeWire is. What you know?
And you always see the memes about it and stuff. Yeah.
But you think that and I think that that's the trap about the getting old thing is you think that well, it's not going to be like that anymore.
It can't get any bigger than this.
But it will, dude.
Yeah,
like,
no matter what. I thought about that too. It's like, okay, we went from, CDs to downloading to streaming. Like, what's going to be more than streaming? Like,
exactly,
how do you?
Bro.
It's just going to be like downloaded in your brain next. Yeah, I mean, I don't
Exactly,
know. Like,
I think what I think would be incredible is if we could send sense through text.
like scratch and snips. Like,
yeah, like if you could, like, have you ever been to like Disneyland, right? And you go, you like Disneyland, right?
Yeah, go all the time.
So like, but the one where you like soaring over the
soaring California.
Yeah, soaring California, and then you smell it.
Like the oranges, you go to the orange fields. Yeah,
like if you could send a text,
yeah,
like that would be next level.
that might be.
You never know. I'm just saying, like, what is next?
Like, what's forward thinking,
what is forward thinking these days? You know, because, and I think it's experimental because you never really know like what it's going to be like. Mm-hmm. People think about that with photography. I mean, to think that you were going to fly your own little helicopter around and take video footage.
Yeah.
10 years ago.
I mean, the craziest one is when I think about Uber. 10 years ago, if you told me, some random guy's going to come pick you up in his own car and take you wherever you want, I would have been like, no,
he's not.
Now it's like that's all I do. You know what I mean? So it's
yeah.
just like you got to embrace that change. You got to expect it. You can never just shut things down. Like, no, that's never going to happen. Then you're gonna be behind. You know what I mean? With my dad or my parents, he struggles with keeping up with technology. He like doesn't want to let go, and I tell him like, you got to. You know what I mean? Like, you got to get rid of these old VHSs. No, it's not that bad. But and then he just like doesn't want to embrace it. But then like now with him having to, he's struggling,
right? And
then he annoys me because he wants me to help, and I'm like, I told you. You know what I mean? But you just got to always forward think.
And that's the hard. I think it's easier said than done too. Mm-hmm. Like you think, I'll never be like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But then you
start having your dad traits and stuff.
Yeah, like you start realizing, because you just stop caring about certain things. You know what I mean?
Do.
It's the comfort thing.
Yeah,
And I think that you gotta have that edge.
Yeah,
you got a lot of tats, bro.
I got 9. 10,
okay, so let's
9.
talk about, you got lots of MJ tats.
That's all I have.
So what is so have you? What's the MJ controversy stuff? You know what I mean? Like, what is? Because he's obviously there's no doubting and no argument about him being a musical legend, right? He is the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah.
Especially in pop music. In recent with some of the specials and stuff, the Leaving Neverland and all that, which I haven't seen, so I can't speak a ton on it. I've just read up on it. And how does that affect you, who's someone that who is a beloved fan?
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of even what you do, I think you credit to even
for sure,
his music.
Yeah. His music is like what got me to fall in love with music, which ultimately led to my career. You know what I mean?
So how do you navigate some of the stuff that comes out?
Well, first off, that's been like a running theme through like his, a big part of his life, especially me growing up as a fan. It's always been a thing.
The accusation,
the
part,
accusations.
Right?
I mean, this wasn't the first. I mean, it's been like he's had 2, and then the HBO specials, which you talked about, which I didn't watch, by the way. But a lot of people have asked me about it.
Do you not watch because you're just not interested in hearing all that?
Basically, yeah.
I feel the same way.
It's something like, I don't believe it, so why do I need to hear about it? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But obviously, also in my job, I kind of need to know things about it. So I've read things about what's been said and stuff like that. But I have my own opinion about it.
What is your opinion about it?
Did it? It didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Could I be naive about it? Maybe. I'm one of those that like I won't believe it till I see it. But then even then, I've always been a big person that could compartmentalize things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like not everybody's perfect. Everybody has skeletons in their closet. But this is the part that I like about him. You know what I mean? Because almost everybody that's been somebody has had bad things. You know what I mean? So you can't tell me that I can't like this person when you're a fan of this person and they did X, Y, Z. You know what I mean? I mean, I work at a hip hop station. Let's be real. Yeah. The rappers that we played, most of them have records.
Right,
you know what I mean? Are you not going to like them?
Where do you draw the line though? Like, can someone do something that you're like, yeah, nah, I'm off that?
That's tough.
I mean, there's tough. in your industry, there's all kinds of people. I mean, there's R. Kelly's. There's these, I
don't know. It's tough. Yeah, I guess it's like if it affects you personally. I mean, like, I don't know.
It's a difficult line because I subscribe to the same line of thought that I feel like if all of our dirt was exposed, nobody would be able to show their face.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like if all of everybody's everything, there wouldn't be a whole lot of trustworthy people in this world because everyone is broken and human and has done things or said things or experienced things or had things done to them that they wish were different. The challenge is that in our world, we don't want people to be honest about their history because we want them to be helped. Mm-hmm. We want them to be honest, and then what we do is, rather than help them, we hurt them. Mm-hmm. And I think that is almost like one of the sicknesses in our society.
People want to tear them down.
Right. But we encourage, like, part of the thing, that becomes trendy, especially in the world that I'm in, the church world, is this whole idea of vulnerability. Mm-hmm. In pop culture, whatever, it's the principle of live your truth, own your truth, which is an interesting conversation in and of itself. But the whole principle still, I think, is sometimes in our society not as sincere and heartfelt as we communicate it, because we tell people to live their truth or to be honest or to be vulnerable, but then the second that they do, we see them through that lens for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And I think that then it becomes challenging as a person to desire to be honest about your journey.
Because you don't want to be judged.
In fear of the repercussions of what may happen, because again, it goes back to the earlier conversation that we were having, is it's not really about the information as much as it is we want the hype of the story. We want the negativity. Give me something juicy about somebody else's
I can
life,
gossip about,
so that I can. Ultimately, so I can not think about my own stuff and think about other people's.
Escapism.
Yeah. And what's interesting is the things that. Like I remember and this is not to belittle, I want to make this clear, it's not to belittle, social movements because they're important. I think that victims should be heard. I think that people who have had injustice, done to them, or the people that are criminals, or they are pedophiles, or they are abusers, there should be consequences for those behaviors. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying I think that there becomes almost like a pedestal of like you almost put the victim in a place of celebrity to where everybody, it's no longer really about just honesty as much as it is, I want that pedestal too, And then it becomes difficult to know what's true and what's not true.
Yeah, exactly.
And then to not have the double standard. I remember when the sexual harassment stuff, like a lot of sexual harassment stuff was coming out.
Yeah.
To me, that's part of the, it's like it's so weird because the people that are pointing fingers, most likely they could have been watching a comedy show last night and would laugh about that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
When it's said in jest, but then when it's said in the office, and then what guy or woman has not ever said something, or anymore it's like, well, they hugged me and put their arm too low, hand too low on my arm, and all of a sudden that's something like, where are we going to draw the line?
And I think it's tough. I mean, it almost goes back to what we were saying earlier about people being like just oversensitive now. Like we've all have told jokes, sex jokes or whatever, but then saying that could offend somebody. But then, like you said, if someone says at a comedy show, they're not offended.
Funny. Right.
So at what point is it okay, or when is it not okay?
And I think that's the thing about these people that we're talking about that have. I mean, there's so many of them. You think about, Bill Cosby and his situation. Yeah. But yet to me, like, that's always the sad, devastating part, is that people forget. It doesn't, like I heard even in the Cosby stuff, it didn't change what he did for, even African Americans.
Yeah. Like he opened a lot of doors.
He opened a lot of doors. And did he have mistakes? Were they inappropriate? Were they unacceptable?
Yeah,
yes.
for sure.
Were they, were they unjust? And is anybody condoning any of that? No.
Yeah.
But it's weird to take away all of the good. It's just a weird.
So then, what do we do?
Well, I think
we just take both? Like we take him for his good, but then we also punish him for his bad.
Yeah, I think that humility is the name of the game. I think that it starts. I think for us it starts with self-evaluation. Like I think it starts with self-evaluation of realizing that there is a little bit of us in those people that we see, maybe not in the same, not the gravity of their situations or their decisions, but the imperfection. We're all prone.
We all have good and bad.
It's like the Michael Jackson thing. I mean, as a fan, I mean, you obviously wouldn't want to believe it. As somebody who's not a fan, you'd be more prone to believe it.
Yeah, exactly.
And yet, is it possible? Well, I mean, there's a lot of things that are possible, but the guy's dead and gone, and now he can't. We don't. There's so many
he can't
things.
Defend himself.
Yeah, and there's so many things that we don't know. And then what's the byproduct of that conversation? Where do we, if we're going to have this discussion, what is the purpose of it? Are we trying to grow and be better as humans? If so, let's have it. If we're just trying to shame a man and put his career in the ground or all the positive and good and things that he spread, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to put a fire on things that actually move things forward? I don't know. It's a messy conversation. But I do think that you have to go back to your question. I think that there has to be some sort of repercussions for decisions, but I wish we would be better at what you're saying, compartmentalizing things, things, to know that, man, it's like my dad used to always say, like eat the hay, spit out the sticks. Like, there's good things in every conversation. Yeah. It doesn't mean that everything is good. We could sit here and we would have disagreements probably about different things. But to allow those negative things to get in the way of the good, that doesn't help anybody. No. To me, that's part of this podcast, is to be able to have diverse conversation and realize that it's like us. We live in the same city but come from two different worlds. Yeah. Yet in conversation, we have way more in common than we actually do different. Yeah, exactly. You talk about the human struggle. You talk about your. It's the same. It's humanity. Yeah. So I think that if there could be like more compassion for that. Yeah. It's like we gotta take to good and appreciate that, and then take what's bad and how can we fix that? How can we fix it? How can we move forward? Right. How can we help people? Right. You know what I mean? Well, that's the whole idea of punishment, right? Punishment is it's not the idea of defeating someone. No, it's not to hurt you. The whole it's to show you. That's what it's supposed to be. Like, I mean, as a parent, like a parent that disciplines their child. They don't take pride in doing that. Yeah. And they're not doing it to punish them for the rest of their lives. They're wanting them to teach them a lesson. Yeah. Hey, this isn't a good thing for you to do. And I think the same thing, like if we could be better at like the decisions that we make, separating, and I get it, because again, this is not diminishing the fact that abuse is wrong and it's unjust and not okay, and all of these behaviors are not okay. But I still think we have to have a heart for each other. Yeah. To say, can we be better? What can we do to actually fix this situation? I mean, it's like our prison system, right? Like, a lot of people that go to jail will end up in jail again. Yeah. Which that right there, why aren't we reconsidering the effectiveness of our methods? Yeah. Like, what are we doing? How is what we're doing actually working? It's probably not. Probably not. But I think that if we could be better about those conversations rather than, you did that, well, we're going to end you. What kind of, like, how is that going to help our kids or our grandkids or the world, get better? I say all the time, like, I don't think that it's our religious preferences, our political preferences. I don't think it's our race. I don't think it's our gender. I don't think it's our sexual orientation that brings us together as humanity. I think it's our brokenness that brings us together. Yeah. I think it's the fact that I have things in my life that I can't figure out, and you have things in your life that you can't figure out. I have flaws. You have flaws. I think it's our brokenness that places us in the family of humanity. If we could just start there. Yeah. Like, how far could we get in life? Yeah. If we could realize, we don't agree on all this, but at the core, bro, like we're not that different. Yeah. And if we could keep, I think that a lot of the conversation has just shifted, and we're so distracted by stuff that doesn't matter that we're really not about actually bettering ourselves or our society or any of that. It's like I was talking with Alan Autry, and he was telling me about like our political system. He's like, so much of politics, what he's learned is it's not even like people get so distracted, and you're not really about the people anymore. Yeah, you're about your preference. Yeah, and what you want and what makes you comfortable. Yeah, I mean, usually the reason that there is hate in the world the way that it is most times is because A person doesn't understand B person. Yeah. And because B person doesn't fit in the box of A person. You see that with with race all the time. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just like we all have different cultures, but it's just like
I wasn't raised like that. Yeah. My culture doesn't do that. My family doesn't do that. And you're doing something different. So that's weird.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's not.
Yeah.
And it's human. I think that there's got to be some sort of place, I guess, of compassion. And I think we got to lose, I don't know that it's ever going to happen, bro, honestly, but I think that we got to fight to lose, our confidence in negativity and our thirst for it. Mm-hmm. I think we're thirsty for negativity. I think it's what I mean, and I think it's what is programming our psychology to turn on one another. You know, rather than to help.
Yeah, yeah.
To me, that's why there's stigma with mental health.
Yeah.
You don't want. I mean, it's getting better, but most people don't want you. You don't want to tell people you're going to a psychologist. You got a shrink appointment. Yeah. Yet a lot of times that's what you need.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like, because there's a stigma there. Mm-hmm. I think that we got to get serious about some of that.
Like it's okay to better yourself, to go find help. You should almost embrace that. You know what I mean? Yeah. You shouldn't be embarrassed, and we shouldn't be embarrassing people if they're seeking help, whether that's church or a psychologist or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's not bad. You know what I mean?
Do you think that this is? I have my opinions about this, but I think everybody comes from a different side of the mountain on it. Like do people ever really change, or do people just become better at coping with the things that they know they need to fix? So, for example, like, I mean, I know that you on your show and stuff, like, if somebody is a cheater, will they always be a cheater? If someone is a liar, are they always a liar? Do they just get better at covering it?
Yeah.
You know, is there actual real change, or are people just hiding?
Like they're almost like coding it?
Yeah. Covering it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I do believe people can ultimately change if they really want to. I just feel like a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
I think it's more what you said. People code it.
Yeah.
They hide it better.
Right.
And maybe they perceived as if they changed, but deep down inside they didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe part of that is because they didn't go get help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe part of that is that, that's just in their personality to be like that. They didn't work hard enough to change.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately people can, because you've seen success stories of people changing. Are they still going to have that stuff in their past? They are. But if they can move past it, then that's good. I just think a lot of people don't really want to make that effort to change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think so. I would agree with that. I think people can change. I also think that there's this Tony Hoffman talked to me on this podcast, and I don't know if you know who he is, but he comes from addiction. He was an addict and ended up overcoming that and became an Olympic coach and like all this kind of crazy stuff. But he talks about how with addiction, like some things that science is studying is that there's a gene, or there's something in someone's genetic makeup that programs their psychology to make them actually more prone to things like addiction. You have a natural lean to that. And I think that also in some ways holds hands with this conversation, because I think all of us have a war within.
Yeah.
I think all of us are prone to different things. You know, everybody has a vice that they would lean towards. For some, it's not drugs or sex or alcohol. For some, it's called business and busying yourself. For some, it's called shallow relationships. For some, it's, they throw themselves into gossip, or they throw themselves into television. Yeah. Everybody has.
It's something,
and to me, it's a coping mechanism. It's how I escape, right? And obviously, like, we pedestal the ones that are seemingly most destructive, but I would argue that they're all in some ways, destructive.
Yeah, exactly. Like, maybe cheating is looked at as worse than like gossiping.
Yeah.
But really, they're both bad.
They're searching for the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
It's
like
that escapism.
The escape. Yeah. They're looking for the out, and that's why I say I think that there's this internal war within, and I do think that that's the importance of like, to go full circle back to some of the disciplines or the routines or pushing through pain, because I think at some point you have to make a decision, that it's like anybody, like we're saying, like, if you go down a road, eventually that road leads to this that can be ultimately destructive. So what you want to stop yourself from doing is from going down that road.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think that there is change, but a lot of the times that change even comes on the heels of owning, I think, your decisions and learning how to say, like, I think that that's sometimes the destructive thing about live your truth, because I think what it communicates to people is whatever you feel is good for you. And I don't know that that's always the case. People who do really bad things, they're doing it because it feels appropriate or because it feels good. So then the conversation is, where do you draw the line? You know what I'm saying? So I think at some point there has to be restraint to say, this is not good for me.
Yeah.
You know, is this thing that I'm feeling good for me or beneficial for me? Does it create the life that I want? Somebody once told me that it's not so much about trying to be who you are as much as it is deciding who you want to be. And rather than, because who you are is a moving target.
Yeah.
Who you are sitting here today is a different person than when we were at Bullard High School.
Yeah.
You know, shout out Bullard Knights.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a moving target.
Yeah.
So like focusing a much more powerful conversation. Who is the person that I want to become?
Yeah. So if somebody is like struggling with addiction and they do it because they like it, they think it's cool, they think it's all right, how do they break from that?
Well, Hoffman tells me that they have to get to a place where they don't want it anymore. Like, you can't, like, if you can't talk somebody out of something that they.
Yeah, you see it all the time. They're stubborn.
Yeah.
I don't see nothing wrong with it. It's not a big deal.
Right.
I don't do it every day. That, you know what I mean? So it's just like, at what point do they find that break? You know, people that have these success stories, like, where did they finally go, like, you know what, this isn't right. I need to make a change.
I think there's some people that are stubborn like me and they have to live it and then they realize it for themselves. And then there's other people that are a whole lot smarter. They can take the wisdom of somebody else and say, this is not the road you want to go down. To me, most people are, I mean, I'm that way. You can tell me like, yeah, but I'll be different. You know? Like, that's just not for me. You know, it won't be like that for me. And then realizing you're the same.
Yeah, exactly.
You're the same. Like, it is that way. So I think for people that are in that, at some point you have to at least, I think you can get help when you're at the point that you desire change.
Yeah, for sure.
Know? But if you're not at the point where you don't really want to change, some people are just addicted, right? Like, they want to change, but they're so stuck and they need help. Yeah. That's why there's programs.
That's when
why
it gets like really bad,
Right. But the hardest part is when you care about somebody and they're so blind to it that they justify it. And they justify it. That's why I say addiction is powerful, and it's bigger than just the popular vices that we talk about. I mean, people will defend their need for video games the same way somebody will defend their need for narcotics.
It's like the same.
Yeah.
But we don't look at it as
we don't
bad,
look at it as bad.
Because it's not illegal or
Right.
whatever. I mean,
Right.
But I mean, it still is an addiction.
Yeah.
I mean,
and to me, the thing about the devastating part about addiction is that it just halts productivity in your life.
Yeah. It stops you from doing other things.
Puts you on a merry-go-round.
Yeah. That's
you end up back at the same place. That's why it's destructive. The reason why, you know, addiction to drugs is bad is because it literally stops everything in your life.
Yeah.
It puts a halt on your relationships. It puts a halt on your success. It puts a halt on who you want to become.
Yeah.
That's the problem with it. You know what I mean? Like, I think the downside is, the distraction is, we make it about morality and we make it about this and we make it about wrong.
Yeah.
Instead of getting to people see, like, if you could just see, like, let's take away even like spiritual dynamics or take away all this other side conversation that we want to have about, you know, what is right and wrong. And can you see how this is like literally putting a stop in your life right now?
Yeah.
Like, if we would just simplify that, you know, and own that, I think that
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
maybe we could find a whole lot more, you know, awareness.
For sure.
So anyway, brother, I appreciate you stopping by.
Man.
I wanted to do we ran out of time, but I wanted to do your asking for a friend thing, but I feel like it would be funny. You like doing those, huh?
Yeah, we do it every Thursday.
What are some questions? Like, what would be an asking for a friend question? It's basically like a question that you want to ask, right? Or that
to me, it's always like debatable questions. Like, I'll tell you this one.
Okay.
I'll tell you this one is coming out tomorrow. That's just like, or is a hot dog a sandwich? that would be like one of the more funnier ones we would do.
is a hot dog a sandwich?
So go. I want to hear your opinion.
I would say that a hot dog is not a sandwich, because I think unless you split the bun, you have to split
cut it?
You got to cut it.
Oh,
if you
okay.
want a hot dog sandwich,
since it folds open, it's not.
My definition of a sandwich is you got to have bread, you got to have meat, and then you got to have bread on top.
Okay.
So if the bread is like
Locked,
that's not a sandwich.
Okay. Yeah, I don't understand why people say that it is because they're like, oh, it's meat between two pieces of bread.
It would be more of a taco than a sandwich.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm just going to tell
it
you right
folds
now.
the same, right?
It's a taco.
And not only that, I tell people, like, the last time I went into, like, a Subway, I never saw a hot dog on the menu.
Bro, a hot dog is nothing more than a white person's taco. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Is?
Yeah, that's a redneck taco right there. I bet you that's how it started. I bet you, I guarantee it was a redneck that came up with, and I can say that because I have them in my family.
Yeah.
But you do. But I guarantee they're like, let's make tacos. Like, well, we got bread and hot dogs. That'll
there
do.
It is. It folds the same. It'll be the same. That's a good point.
Oh,
yeah.
I would almost put money on that. My brother, thanks for stopping by.
For sure, man.
I appreciate it.